320 million. I know this number better than anyone else. Because every line of code, every architectural solution, and every technical negotiation was the result of my team's hard work. Shinmo's speech at the celebration banquet was written by my assistant, who can't even make a PowerPoint presentation. But Jiang Wanqing couldn't see any of this. She only remembered the cup of hand-drip coffee Shin brought her every morning, the blanket he handed her when she worked overtime, and the sweet nothings he would say that made her blush. We got married 5 years ago. The Jiang family looked down on me back then, a programmer from the countryside, with no background or family wealth. Before Jiang Wanqing's father passed away, he left a message saying that I seemed honest and could maintain the family business. My mother-in-law, Wang Geilan, was so angry that she smashed 3 vases, saying that a man like me, from a humble background, would eventually devour the Jiang family's wealth. 5 years have passed, and I've transformed the Jiang family's small company, with an annual revenue of 20 million, into a technology group valued at over 1 billion. The core technology, the Zhiyun system, from its underlying architecture to its application layer, was entirely developed line by my team. But in this family, I am still the son-in-law who lives off his wife. The celebration banquet was held in the Hilton's ballroom, where the crystal chandeliers shone blindingly. I stood in a corner, holding a glass of champagne that hadn't been touched much. Jiang Wanqing was speaking on stage. She was wearing a burgundy evening gown and a Cartier necklace, a birthday gift I'd given her last year, on her collarbone. I still remember the day I gave her the necklace. She smiled and kissed me, saying, "Honey, you're so sweet." Now her smile was directed at Shin Mo, who was standing beside her. Shin Mo wore a custom-made dark blue suit with Van Cleef Arpels cufflinks, which cost about 3 months' salary. He stood half a step behind Jiang Wanqing, holding a wine glass, smiling politely, like a well-trained poodle. "Now, I have an important decision to announce." Jiang Wanqing's voice resounded throughout the venue through the speakers. "To thank Shin Mo for his contributions to the company over the years, I have decided to transfer 70% of the group's shares to him free of charge." The room was silent for a fraction of a second. Then a murmur broke out. 70% of the shares. The Jiang family holds 70% of the shares in the holding group, with a market value of approximately 700 or 800 million. I gripped the wine glass tightly. Shin Mo feigned a perfectly timed expression of surprise, his eyes even slightly reddening. His voice choked with emotion. "President Jiang, this is far too precious. You deserve it." Jiang Wanqing looked at him with a gentle gaze that didn't seem like she was looking at an employee. A few people in the audience started clapping, the applause sparse and clearly tentative. Several core members of my technical team looked at me, their eyes filled with disbelief. I didn't say anything. 3 years ago, the company's cash flow dried up, and I mortgaged my house in my hometown and borrowed 5 million yuan to cover the losses. 2 years ago, core technical personnel were poached, and I worked continuously for 72 hours, single-handedly handling the entire project. A year ago, Jiang Wanqing said she wanted to expand into new businesses. So I led the team from scratch and secured this 300 million yuan order today. And what did Shin Mo do? He accompanied Jiang Wanqing shopping, dining, and attending concerts. He acted as a mediator between Jiang Wanqing and her mother. He packaged every capricious decision Jiang Wanqing made as brilliant and wise, and then collected a large project bonus. Wang Geilan walked up to me at some point, wearing a mink coat and a string of jade around her neck, her whole being screaming, "I'm very rich." "Qinzhou, don't be resentful." She cracked sunflower seeds, spitting the shells at my feet. "Wanqing must have her reasons for doing this. Shin Mo is such a good kid, a graduate of a prestigious university. His parents both work in the public sector. He's well-mannered and knows how to get along with people. And you? All you can do is write that messy code. What good is that?" I didn't reply. "Let me tell you, a man should know his place." She patted my shoulder, the force of which was like patting a subordinate. "Work hard at the company, and Wanqing will treat you well." As for the shares, don't even think about them. Those are the Jiang family's assets. I looked up at the stage. Jiang Wanqing was clinking glasses with Shin Mo. The two were standing very close. So close that Shin Mo's elbow touched her waist. And she did not move away at all. People in the audience were taking pictures with their phones. And the flashes were going off. I suddenly remembered last Friday, when I got home after working overtime until 2 a.m., and Jiang Wanqing wasn't in the bedroom. I sat in the living room until 3 a.m., and she came back, smelling of alcohol, her collar slightly disheveled. I asked her where she had been, and she said she had gone to meet a client with Shin Mo. Why aren't you asleep yet? Are you doubting me again? She frowned impatiently. Lu Qinzhou, can't you be a little more magnanimous? Shin Mo is my assistant. Can you stop being so petty? I turned off the living room light and said I was going to sleep. She didn't follow. Halfway through the celebration banquet, the toasting began. Jiang Wanqing, arm in arm with Shin Mo, went from table to table, accepting everyone's congratulations. Someone teased that Shin Mo was now the second boss, but Shin Mo smiled and waved his hand, saying, "No, no, no. I'm still President Zhang's assistant. Always will be." Jiang Wanqing was delighted by his words and patted his arm affectionately. Someone noticed me in the corner, and their gazes became subtle. Several longtime employees walked over with wine glasses, seemingly wanting to say something, but then stopping themselves. President Liu, Xiao Wang from the technical department called me, his voice very soft. It's all right. I smiled and placed the champagne on the table. I walked onto the stage and picked up the microphone. The entire room fell silent. Jiang Wanqing looked at me, a flicker of panic in her eyes. But she quickly regained her composure as a CEO. Shin Mo stood beside her, his expression subtly shifting. Thank you all for attending tonight. My voice was calm, so calm that it felt unfamiliar even to myself. Here, I also want to announce a decision. Jiang Wanqing frowned, seemingly wanting to go on stage to stop me. Shin Mo pulled her arm and gently shook his head. Starting tomorrow, I will be resigning from my position as the group's chief technology officer. I paused for a moment. Thank you, Mr. Jiang, for the opportunities you have given me over the past 5 years. I wish the company all the best. After I finished speaking, I put the microphone on the table, took an envelope out of my pocket, walked up to Jiang Wanqing, and handed it to her. This is my resignation letter. Jiang Wanqing was stunned and almost dropped the wine glass in her hand. Lu Qinzhou, are you crazy? Her voice shrilly. You resign? Where are you going if you resign? Do you think you can find a job after leaving the Jiang family? I didn't answer. Shin Mo spoke up from the side, his tone so sincere it made one want to vomit. Brother Liu, don't be impulsive. President Jiang was just joking. We can discuss the shares again. What will happen to the company if you leave? What will happen to the technical team? The tech team will follow me. I looked at him and smiled. Assistant Shin, I hope you can understand the code behind your 70% stake. Shin Mo's expression changed. Wang Gaolan rushed over, snatched the resignation letter, and tore it to shreds. You dare to resign? You're just a live-in son-in-law, eating and living in the Jiang family's house. And you still have the nerve to resign? If you leave, who will do the work? You better stay put. Mom. I looked at her, for the first time not calling her mother-in-law. The house is in my name, and I bought the car 5 years ago. Your Jiang family provided $2 million in startup capital, and I turned it into 600 times that. Don't you know who owes whom? Wang Gaolan choked, her face turning bright red. Jiang Wanqing stood there, and the wine glass in her hand finally fell, the red wine splashing onto her burgundy dress. But it was not visible. Lu Qinzhou, what do you mean? Her eyes reddened, not from sadness, but from anger and humiliation. Are you saying I owe you something? You don't owe me anything, I said calmly, looking at her. But I don't owe you anything either. I turned and walked out. Jiang Wanqing's voice came from behind, choked with sobs and hysteria. Go away. Don't come back. Let me tell you, Lu Qinzhou, without me, Jiang Wanqing, you are nothing. You'll regret it. I didn't turn around. As I reached the door, my assistant, Xiao Chen, chased after me and handed me a USB drive. Mr. Liu, I've been keeping backups of all the company's core code for you. I glanced at him and nodded. Thank you. In the parking lot, I got into the Audi I bought with my year-end bonus and started the engine. My phone vibrated a dozen times. All messages from colleagues. Some asked what was going on. Some expressed their loyalty. And some advised me to calm down. I did not reply to any of them. As the car drove out of the parking lot, I saw Jiang Wanqing and Shen Emo standing at the hotel entrance. Shen Emo had his arm around her shoulder and was whispering something in her ear. Jiang Wanqing was leaning on his shoulder, her shoulders trembling. They looked like a perfect match. I drove onto the main road, the neon lights outside the window shimmering with color. My phone vibrated again, this time from an unknown number. I answered it. Mr. Liu, I am Lin Wanqing from CDH Investments. I heard you resigned today. I would like to discuss a collaboration with you. How did you know? At the celebration banquet. Someone live streamed the whole thing to me. The voice on the other end of the phone was tinged with laughter. Mr. Liu, you hold the most core technology in the entire industry. Instead of working for someone else, why not be your own boss? I have 300 million yuan and I'm willing to be your angel investor. I remained silent for a few seconds. I'd like to invite you for coffee at 10 a.m. tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, I rolled down the car window, and the night breeze blew in, dispelling the lingering champagne smell in the car. In the rearview mirror, the lights of the Hilton Hotel grew farther and farther away. I didn't drive home. From today onwards, the place called home will simply be a house I need to go back to pack my bags. I was packing my luggage when Jiang Wanqing called. To be precise, I was packing up the things that truly belong to me. In 5 years of marriage, my clothes only occupied a small corner of the walk-in closet. The rest were all Jiang Wanqing's bags, shoes, and dresses. She loved shopping, spending about 200,000 yuan a month on luxury goods, all paid for by the company, euphemistically called business image requirements. She keeps my salary card and gives me 5,000 yuan a month for spending money. 5,000 yuan is enough for me to buy cigarettes and gas, and occasionally treat the team to a box lunch. Lu Qinzhou, haven't you made enough of a scene? Her voice on the other end of the phone was shrill and hoarse, as if she had been crying or drinking. Come back now, and I can pretend nothing happened. I held my phone between my ear and shoulder and continued folding clothes. I'll wait for you at home. We'll talk things out when you get back. Her tone softened, carrying a condescending air of condescension. We can discuss the shares. Giving you 5% isn't out of the question. Don't be ungrateful. Jiang Wanqing. I called her name calmly. Have your lawyer draft the divorce agreement. I'll sign it tomorrow. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the phone. Then a sharp shout erupted. Lu Qinzhou. Are you crazy? Divorce? What right do you have to bring up divorce? You're a kept man. You can't even afford the rent without me. Do you know how many people are eyeing your position? Do you really think you're that important? I hung up the phone. She called again, but I turned off my phone. There was also a safe in the walk-in closet. The combination was my birthday. I opened it, and inside were my marriage certificate, property certificate, and 3 patent certificates. On the patent certificates, my name was listed as the inventor, and I was also the patentee. These patents are the core of the Zhiyun system. Before Jiang Wanqing's father passed away, I had a private conversation with him. The old man was a sensible man. He knew that core technologies couldn't be registered under the company's name. He told me to apply for patents in my own name and sign a licensing agreement with the company. He said, Qinzhou, my daughter isn't very bright. You should keep something in reserve so she won't be bullied in the future. The day the old man passed away, I knelt in front of his hospital bed and kowtowed 3 times. In hindsight, he was right. I put the patent certificate into a document bag and zipped up my suitcase. This house was bought in full before our marriage, and it's registered in my name. The car was also bought by me and registered in my name. Jiang Wanqing always assumed the Jiang family paid for all of this. But that wasn't the case. I started doing outsourcing during university, saving my first pot of gold. The year I graduated, I caught the mobile internet boom, developed an app, sold it, and earned my first 10 million. When I met Jiang Wanqing, I was already a programmer with some savings. But in her and her mother's eyes, writing code could never compare to owning a company. And being moderately wealthy could never compare to being extremely rich. As I dragged my suitcase out of the residential compound, security guard Lao Lu called me back. "Mr. Lu, where are you going so late?" "A business trip." I smiled. "Oh, then take care." He didn't ask why my wife didn't see me off, nor did he ask why I was being followed by a Lalamove truck. I put my suitcase in the car and set the navigation to an address, an apartment near the 3rd Ring Road, a vacant house belonging to my college classmate. I called him last night, and he sent me the password without saying a word. My phone vibrated again as the car drove onto the elevated highway. This time it was the company's technical director. "Lao Zhou. Brother Lu. Something's happened." Old Zhou's voice was very low. "Shen Mo just sent an email to all employees saying that you resigned for personal reasons and that he will temporarily take over the company's technical department. He also asked all technical staff to transfer their code permissions to him by today." I didn't say anything. "Brother Lu, as you know, only you have full access to the core modules of the Zhiyun system. What we have are just peripheral codes. Without the core modules, the whole system can't run." "I know. What should we do?" "He owns 70% of the shares. If we don't listen to him, will he fire us?" "He won't fire you," I said, "because he can't understand what you're writing at all." Old Zhou fell silent. "Tell the guys. Go to work if you're supposed to, and slack off if you're supposed to. Don't say anything unless he asks. If he does ask, just say you need Lu Chenzhou's authorization to access the core code." I paused for a moment. "Hold on for 3 days. 3 days at most." "Brother Lu, you're going to. You'll find out in 3 days." After hanging up the phone, I turned on the car stereo and randomly played an old song. It's Li Zongxing's Hill. After crossing the hill, I found no one waiting. I smiled and turned the volume up. I arrived at the agreed-upon coffee shop at 9:30 a.m. the next day. Lin Wanqing arrived before me and sat by the window with an Americano in front of her, looking at her laptop. She was wearing a white shirt. Her hair was tied in a low ponytail, and she wore frameless glasses. She looked to be in her early 30s, capable and sophisticated. "Ms. Lu, you're right on time." She closed her laptop, stood up, and shook my hand. Her hands were cool, and her pressure was just right. "I'm not used to making people wait. I can tell." She smiled, the fine lines at the corners of her eyes barely visible. "You're someone who values time." We sat down, and she ordered me a latte without asking what I wanted to drink. "I've done my homework," she said bluntly. "The core technology patents of the Zhiyun system are all under your name. Your licensing agreement with the Jiang Group expires in 2 years. That means you can choose not to renew it after 2 years. And the entire technology system of the Jiang Group will collapse instantly. You've investigated very thoroughly. As an investor, you need to have this much skill." She pushed a document over. "This is my draft letter of intent for investment. CDH Capital will invest 300 million yuan for a 30% stake. And you will contribute your technology for a 70% stake. You will have full control over the company. And I will not interfere." I opened the document and looked at it page by page. The terms were written very cleanly, with no traps, no betting, and not even performance requirements. "Aren't the conditions too good?" I asked. "Because I believe in you." Lin Wanqing picked up her coffee cup. "Lu Chenzhou, your greatest value is not the technology you have, but the person you are. Someone who can endure for 5 years in the environment of the Jiang family and grow the company from 20 million to more than 1 billion. Give him a fulcrum, and he can move the whole earth." I didn't say anything. Moreover, she put down her cup, her eyes sharpening. "After you left last night, 3 of Jiang's group's major clients called me. saying that if Lu Qinzhou starts his own company, they will immediately terminate their cooperation with Zhang's and switch everything to you. That includes that 300 million yuan order. You've also been in contact with the clients? They didn't contact me. They reached out to me. Lin Wanqing smiled. President Lu, your reputation in the industry is much better than you realize. I picked up my latte and took a sip. The temperature was just right. I'll sign the investment agreement. I put down my cup. But I have one condition. Explain. I'll decide the company name myself. Can. It's called Qinzhou Technology. Lin Wanqing paused for a moment, then burst out laughing. 1,000 sails pass by the sunken ship? Are you cursing yourself or someone else? Neither. I stood up and held out my hand. It's just a reminder that the ship has sunk once, and it won't sink a second time. She grasped my hand. It's a pleasure working with you. It's a pleasure to work with you. My phone vibrated again as I walked out of the coffee shop. This time it's Jiang Wanqing. Lu Qinzhou. Where are you? Her voice was completely out of control. Do you know the company system crashed? All the customers are calling to complain that the service is down. Shin Emo said he needs your authorization to restore it. So get your ass back here right now. Authorize? I laughed. Jiang Wanqing. Didn't you say Shin Mo did a lot of hard work and made great contributions? Let him fix it. He can't. He can't do anything. Please come back. I'm begging you. Her voice was trembling with tears. But not because she cared about me, but because she cared about the money. Jiang Wanqing. The divorce agreement is signed. I'll go pick it up this afternoon. You're dreaming. I won't sign. Don't even think about taking a single penny from the Jiang family. I don't want your money, I said calmly. I only want my own things. As for your 70% stake, keep it for Shin Emo hopefully. He can understand financial statements. I hung up the phone and this time I blocked her immediately. At 2 p.m., I arrived at the Jiang Group building. When the receptionist in the lobby saw me, her expression was complicated, as if she wanted to say hello but didn't dare. I took the elevator directly to the 18th floor. As soon as the elevator doors opened, Jiang Wanqing's shout rang out. What do you mean you can't get the permissions? You're the technical director. How can you not get the permissions? Old Zhou's voice was calm. President Jiang. Only President Lu has the authorization key for the core code. It was you who personally approved it, saying that technical permissions should not be shared to avoid leaks. I'm rescinding this decision now. You're forcibly opening the system for me. Forcibly opening the server requires formatting it, and all data will be lost. Then format it. After formatting, the entire Zhiyun system will need 3 months to redeploy. During these 3 months, the company will have no products to deliver to customers. Jiang Wanqing's voice stopped abruptly. I walked into the office, and everyone looked at me. Jiang Wanqing sat in the CEO's chair, her hair disheveled and her makeup half-finished. Shin Emo stood beside her, his face ashen, holding a stack of documents that looked like contracts. Lu Qinzhou. Jiang Wanqing stood up, her voice trembling. What exactly do you want? I put the divorce papers on her desk. Signature. As she looked at the agreement, tears finally streamed down her face. Lu Qinzhou. Please don't leave. A major client worth 300 million called and said they only recognize you. If you leave, the company is finished. I did not answer Jiang Wanqing. She stood behind the desk, tears blurring her eye makeup. Leaving 2 dark lines, she looked utterly disheveled. Shin Emo stood beside her, his lips moving a few times, but ultimately saying nothing. His gaze swept back and forth between me and Jiang Wanqing, as if calculating something. I turned and walked out of the CEO's office. Jiang Wanqing's voice came from behind. Lu Qinzhou. You stop right there. I didn't stop. Several employees in the corridor saw me and instinctively moved aside. I walked to the elevator and pressed the button. As the elevator doors opened, Lao Zhou caught up with me. Brother Lu. Wait a minute. I held the elevator door shut. The brothers want me to ask you a question. Old Zhou's voice was a little hoarse. Does your new company still need us? I looked into his eyes. This old buddy of mine, who had worked with me for 8 years, had a receding hairline, glasses as thick as the bottom of a beer bottle. And his shirt collar was always askew. His wife had threatened to divorce him 3 times because he was never home. And he had never attended a single parent-teacher conference for his daughter. Yes, I said. Not one less. Old Joe's eyes reddened. And he took off his glasses to wipe them. Okay. That's fine then. Brother Lou. Whenever you say when we're leaving. We'll leave. No rush. I patted him on the shoulder. You guys keep working. And you'll still get paid. Come over when things are ready on my end. About the code. Tell Mo to hurry. The elevator doors closed. And I leaned against the elevator wall, letting out a long sigh. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Lin Wanqing. The office has been found. On the 18th floor of Building C in the Science Park. The renovation team will start work tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I replied with one word, okay. As I stepped out of the building, the sunlight was blinding. I stood on the steps, looking at the Jiang Group's sign. I designed that logo, a distorted Jiang character incorporating elements of a circuit board. I spent 3 sleepless nights working on that design, revising it over 40 times. Looking at it now, it just seems ironic. I arrived at the new office at 3 p.m. The 18th floor of Building C in the Science Park was completely empty. Lin Wanqing was very efficient and had already contacted a renovation company. The project manager was a woman in her early 30s with short hair and a brisk manner of speaking. President Lin instructed us to proceed according to your requirements. What are your thoughts? I walked around the empty office, and the scene was already in my mind. No reception desk. It's a waste of space. I said, make all of them open workstations, with the tech team in the middle, and leave a whiteboard wall. The bigger the better. Make a few small meeting rooms by the window, with glass partitions. No curtains. Give me the innermost one. No door. Just a curtain. The project manager took notes one by one. How long will the construction take? 20 days. Too long. I shook my head. 10 days. Pay more. She hesitated for a moment. I'll try my best. Not just try. Definitely. I looked into her eyes. I'm opening in 10 days. If the renovations aren't finished by then, I'll be working from scaffolding. I made her laugh. Mr. Liu, you're really going all out as a boss. I have no choice but to give it my all. I laughed too. Some people are waiting to see me fail. After leaving the science park, I went somewhere else. In an alley in the old town, there is an inconspicuous law firm. The storefront is small, sandwiched between a noodle shop and a grocery store. If it weren't for the brass plaque hanging at the entrance, you would never know that this is a law firm. I pushed the door open and went in. An old man with gray hair was sleeping on the table, drooling all over it. Attorney Zhao. The old man suddenly looked up. His glasses askew on his nose. Who? Lu Qinzhou. He squinted at me for a few seconds, then slammed his hand on the table. Xiao Lu. You finally came to see me. The lawyer's real name is Zhao Deming. Before retiring, he was a judge at the Provincial High Court, specializing in intellectual property cases. After retiring, he opened this small law firm, not to make money, but just to have something to do. I met him through a friend 3 years ago, and that's when I told him about my patent case. Did you bring everything? He wiped his drool and put on his reading glasses. I placed the file folder on the table. 3 patent certificates, licensing agreements, and the company's financial statements over the years. Zhao Deming flipped through the pages one by one, his eyes growing brighter with each page. Little Lu, you've played this game very deep. He took off his glasses and looked at me. These 3 patents are your personal property and have nothing to do with the company. The licensing agreement clearly states that the annual licensing fee is 5% of the company's revenue. And the company has never paid you that money. Right. For this alone, the company owes you at least 30 million. Not only that, I said, there's also my personal technical contribution. When the company was first established, I contributed my technology, valued at 20 million, as a 40% stake. Later, Jiang Wanqing said that for the sake of easier financing, she converted my shares into stock options. but the business registration has never been changed. So, legally speaking, I am still a shareholder of the company. Zhao Deming flipped to a document and smiled. This shareholder agreement is still here. And it has Jiang Wanqing's father's signature on it. After her father passed away. This agreement is irrefutable evidence. So, what I need to do now is sue them. Zhao Deming decided. Sue the Jiang Group for infringing on patent rights and demand payment of licensing fees. At the same time, sue Jiang Wanqing for misappropriating shareholder rights and demand the restoration of your shares. What are the odds of winning? Zhao Deming held up 3 fingers, 300%. It was already dark when I left the law firm. The aroma of noodles wafted through the alley. So I went in and ordered a bowl of beef noodles. The proprietress recognized me and added 2 extra braised eggs. It's been a while since Xiaolu visited. What have you been up to lately? Busy getting a divorce. The proprietress nearly dropped the spoon into the pot. What? Just kidding. I smiled and lowered my head to eat my noodles. The noodles were scalding hot, and the chili oil made my eyes water. I rubbed my eyes and continued eating. After finishing my noodles and returning to my apartment, it was already 9 p.m. I turned on my computer and logged into the company's backend system. As expected, Shin Mo messed up the server. He didn't understand technology, but wanted to demonstrate his authority. So he ordered all the server's access logs to be exported, saying he wanted to investigate who was sabotaging the server. The log files became too large, filling up the server's hard drive and causing the system to crash. The tech department called him, but he didn't answer. They called Jiang Wanqing, who said, "You guys figure it out yourselves." I smiled and turned off the computer. My phone vibrated. It was an unknown number. Lu Qinzhou. This is Shin Mo. The voice on the other end of the phone was low, with a deliberate calmness. I want to talk to you. What should we talk about? Let's talk about cooperation. He paused for a moment. You have the technology, and I have the shares. If we cooperate, the Jiang Group will be ours. You take the technology shares. I take the management shares. And Jiang Wanqing will be out of here. I was silent for 2 seconds. Shin Mo, do you know who you're talking to? Of course I know. He laughed. Lu Qinzhou. You hate Jiang Wanqing. And I hate her too. Do you think I genuinely like that stupid woman? I'm fed up with her crazy antics every day. And I'm fed up with her mother. That old witch. Let's join forces. Drain the company. You take the money and leave. I take the company. And everyone's happy. The 70% stake you hold was a gift from Jiang Wanqing. I said, what do you have to offer me for this partnership? The shares are in my name, so they're mine. Jiang Wanqing wants them back. But it won't be that easy. His voice was laced with greed. Lu Qinzhou, think about it. You've worked hard for 5 years and haven't gotten anything. I'm giving you a chance to take back what's rightfully yours. Shin Mo. I called his name. My tone as calm as if I were commenting on the weather. Do you know that the 70% of shares you hold are actually worthless? What's the meaning? I hold the core patents for the Zhiyun system. The licensing agreement expires in 2 years, and I will not renew it. The Jiang Group will then be nothing but an empty shell. Your shares will be worth less than a piece of waste paper. There was silence on the other end of the phone. There's one more thing. I said, you think nobody knows about your collaboration with external capital to short the company? Shin Mo, the venture capital firm you found is called CDH Investments, right? Guess who the current partner at CDH Investments is? Who is it? Lin Wanqing. She just signed an investment agreement with me yesterday. I smiled. The information you found was all provided to me by her. A muffled thud came from the other end of the phone, like the phone had fallen to the ground. I hung up the phone. I arrived at the Jiang Group at 8 o'clock the next morning. It wasn't for work, it was to get the last thing. My office is on the 17th floor, right next to the technical department. I pushed open the door, and everything was exactly as it was yesterday. On the desk sat a half-finished cup of coffee, now moldy. A sticky note was on the monitor, drawn by my daughter. No, it was about Jiang Wanqing's pregnancy last year, which ended in miscarriage. We don't have children. The sticky note was drawn by Xiao Wang's daughter from the technical department. She said it was a gift for Uncle Liu. I peeled off the sticky note, folded it, and put it in my pocket. There's an envelope in the drawer containing a love letter I wrote to Jiang Wanqing 5 years ago. We had just met then. And she wasn't like she is now. She would laugh. She would act cute. And she would bring me late-night snacks when I worked overtime until late. Later, when she took over the company, everything changed. She started to think I wasn't good enough for her, that everything I had was given to me by the Jiang family. Her mother would whisper in her ear every day, talking about which son-in-law had bought a villa, or which son-in-law had bought a yacht for his mother-in-law. And all I was a coder. I tore the love letter to shreds and threw it in the trash can. There's something else on the table. The wedding ring Jiang Wanqing gave me. I've never worn it because it's uncomfortable to wear while typing. I've always kept it in my pen holder, just as a decoration. I picked it up and put it in the envelope. Then I went downstairs and walked to the front desk. Please give this to General Manager Jiang for me. The receptionist looked at the envelope, her eyes starting around. Mr. Liu, are you really not coming back? I'm not coming back. I stepped out of the building. The sun was shining brightly. My phone vibrated. It was Lin Wanqing. President Liu, I have good news. The major client we had yesterday, who has 300 million yuan in assets, officially sent a letter today terminating their cooperation with the Jiang Group. They said they will only sign contracts with Qinzhou Technology. Anything else? 2 other major clients followed suit. Jiang's group's stock price plummeted to its daily limit at the opening today, wiping out 200 million yuan in market value. This is just the beginning, I said. 3 days later, I stood on the podium at a press conference. More than 30 media outlets were seated in the audience. Their cameras and microphones all pointed at me. Lin Wanqing sat in the front row, a laptop open in front of her. Her expression as calm as if she were attending an ordinary board meeting. A stack of documents lay before me, with 3 patent certificates on top, their gold-embossed national emblems gleaming under the light. Dear friends from the media, there is only one purpose for holding this press conference today, I said, glancing around the room, to clarify the issue of the technical ownership of the Zhiyun system. The projection screen behind me lit up, and the first slide of the PPT displayed 3 patent numbers. The core technologies of the Zhiyun system cover 3 modules: underlying architecture, data processing, and user interaction. They were granted invention patent certificates by the State Intellectual Property Office in 2019, 2020, and 2021, respectively. I opened the patent certificate and pointed it at the camera. Patent inventor, Liu Qinzhou. Patentee, Liu Qinzhou. A series of camera shutter clicks rang out from the audience. The technology licensing agreement signed between Jiang's group and myself shows that the company obtained the exclusive right to use the aforementioned patents for a fee of 5% of its annual revenue. The agreement is valid for 5 years and will expire in 2 years. I also held up the licensing agreement. However, since the agreement took effect, Jiang's group has never paid any licensing fees as agreed. The accumulated arrears in patent licensing fees exceed 30 million yuan. The flashes went off one after another. Furthermore, at the company's inception, I contributed my technology valued at 20 million yuan as equity, holding 40% of the shares. Later, due to financing needs, the equity was temporarily converted into stock options. But the business registration has never been changed. Legally speaking, I am still a legitimate shareholder of the Jiang Group. I turned to the signature page of the shareholders' agreement, where Jiang Wanqing's father had signed it. All 3 documents above have full legal effect. I put down the documents and looked at the camera. Yesterday, I formally filed a lawsuit with the court through my lawyer, demanding that Jiang's group pay the overdue patent licensing fees and restore my 40% legal equity stake. At the same time, because Ms. Jiang Wanqing and Mr. Shen Mo are suspected of embezzlement, commercial fraud, and other illegal acts during their tenure, I have submitted relevant evidence to the public security authorities. The audience erupted in uproar. A reporter raised his hand. Mr. Liu, You and Ms. Jiang Wanqing are husband and wife. Will suing your wife affect your marriage? I looked at the reporter and smiled. We have separated. Divorce proceedings will be initiated separately. Another reporter stood up. Mr. Liu. It said that you've established a new company called Chinzhou Technology? Yes. What about your original technical team? Will they go with you? I'll ask someone to answer this question. I nodded toward the side platform. Old Zhou walked onto the stage, wearing a wrinkled suit and his hair slicked back. He stood in front of the microphone, his hands trembling, but his voice was steady. On behalf of all employees of the technology department of Zhang's group, I hereby announce that, effective immediately, all 47 technical personnel will resign and join Chinzhou Technology. The audience erupted in uproar. Old Zhou continued. We chose to follow President Liu not because of money, but because of respect. During our 5 years at Zhang's group, President Liu led us to create industry-leading products, but the company never gave technical staff the treatment and status they deserved. Mr. Shen Emo holds 70% of the shares. Yet he can't even understand a single line of code. Such a company is not worth staying at. After he finished speaking, he nodded to me and stepped off the stage. I took the microphone. Chinzhou Technology will officially open in 10 days. We have already received 300 million yuan in angel investment from CDH Investments. Our 3 existing major clients have confirmed that they will sign contracts with us, with a total contract value of over 400 million yuan. The reporters went crazy, scrambling to raise their hands and ask questions. I answered questions for 15 minutes, and then announced the end of the press conference. As I stepped down from the podium, Lin Wanqing handed me a bottle of water. Great, she said, but there's bad news. Explain. Jiang Wanqing's mother, Wang Guilan, just held a press conference at the hospital, saying that she had a heart attack because you forced her to. She also called you an ingrate, ungrateful wretch, and said she wanted to drag the whole family down with her. I unscrewed the bottle cap and took a sip of water. As expected. What are you planning to do? Let her act. I smiled. The more pitiful her performance, the more audience she'll have, and the louder the resounding slap in the face will be in the end. Lin Wanqing looked at me for a few seconds and then laughed. Liu Chinzhou, you're a pretty scary person. Thank you for the compliment. My phone vibrated as I walked out of the press conference venue. This time it wasn't Jiang Wanqing, but her mother-in-law, Wang Guilan. I hesitated for a moment, then accepted. Liu Chinzhou, you beast. Wang Guilan's voice was as shrill as a pig being slaughtered. How do you see Wanqing? Have you no shame? You gigolo. Our Jiang family raised you for 5 years, and this is how you repay us? Ms. Wang, I changed my form of address. Are you aware that your daughter owes me 30 million yuan in patent fees? What patent fees? That crappy code belongs to the Jiang family. You're from the Jiang family. So of course what you write belongs to the Jiang family too. The law doesn't see it that way. Law is worthless. She cursed. Let me tell you, Liu Chinzhou, if you dare to lay a finger on Wanqing, I'll kill myself. I'm in the hospital right now, having a heart attack. All because of you. If you have any conscience at all, hurry up and withdraw that damn lawsuit, and come up with that 100 million. And this matter will be over. 100 million? Yes, 100 million. Didn't you get 300 million in investment for that new company? Give Wanqing 100 million as compensation for her lost youth. Otherwise, I'll die in front of your company. I was silent for 2 seconds. Ms. Wang, you are 62 years old and in good health. Your physical examination report last year showed that all your indicators were normal. Your so-called heart disease is a diagnosis certificate issued by a newly graduated doctor at the community hospital, which has no legal effect. How did you know? I've hired a private investigator. I said, by the way, I also got your daughter's and Shinmo's hotel records. From March of last year until now, a total of 17 times. 6 of those times, the bills were paid with the company's business card. A scream came from the other end of the phone, followed by the sound of the phone falling to the ground. I hung up the phone. The next day, The news spread like wildfire. The headlines of major financial media outlets are all about the Jian system patent case. And the topic has garnered over 200 million views on social media. The comment section is in complete chaos, with some calling me an ingrate, others saying I was forced into this situation, and still others calling it a classic case of technologists fighting back. Jiang's group stock price hit the daily limit down for 3 consecutive days, and its market value dropped from 1.2 billion to 600 million. Shinmo's 70% stake went from a paper fortune to a negative number. On the 4th day, the court summons was delivered to the Jiang Group. On the 5th day, the public security authorities officially opened a case and launched an investigation into Shinmo for suspected embezzlement. On the 6th day, Jiang Wanqing called me more than 30 times. I didn't answer any of them. On the 7th day, she went directly to their door. That night, I had just returned from my new office when I saw her downstairs at the apartment building. She had lost a lot of weight, her cheeks were sunken, and her eye bags were so heavy they looked like 2 sandbags. She was wearing a black coat, and her hair was casually tied back, making her look 10 years older. Lu Qinzhou. Her voice was hoarse. Let's talk. What should we talk about? Let's talk about our marriage. Her eyes reddened. Qinzhou. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I shouldn't have given the shares to Shinmo. I shouldn't have treated you like that. Give me a chance. Let's start over. Okay. Looking at her, I was reminded of her 5 years ago. She had the same expression then. Her eyes red as she said, Qinzhou, my dad is gone. You're all I have left. Jiang Wanqing. I said, does Shinmo know you're here? Her expression froze for a moment. He's already under investigation by the Economic Crime Investigation Department. You know that? Tears streamed down her face. He ran away, taking the last 20 million yuan from the company's account. Now I have nothing left. The company is gone. The money is gone. And even my mother was hospitalized because of the stress. So you came here because I am your last resort. No. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my flesh. I really know I was wrong. Qinzhou, I love you. I've always loved you. It was Shinmo who seduced me. He drugged me. He lied to me. I took my phone out of my pocket and opened a recording. The recording features Jiang Wanqing's voice. So clear it's almost jarring. Mom, just leave it alone. Shinmo said that once he gets the shares, Lu Qinzhou will be useless. He can divorce us if he wants. Or stay if he wants. The company is ours anyway. What can a mere employee like him cause? Wang Guilan's voice. What about that 300 million yuan order? Shinmo said he'll handle the client side. Lu Qinzhou is just a coder. The world will keep turning without him. Mom, don't worry. I saw through this man a long time ago. What's the point of keeping a gigolo? After the recording finished playing, I put my phone away. Jiang Wanqing's face was as white as paper. This is a recording of your phone call with your mother last December. I said. Back then, I had just signed that 300 million deal. And you were already planning how to kick me out of the game. How did you get this recording? You forgot? I laughed. I installed GPS tracking on your car. And I connected your phone to my home network. You think I don't know everything you say outside? Jiang Wanqing released my arm and took 2 steps back. Lu Qinzhou. You. What about me? I looked at her. My forbearance doesn't mean I'm stupid. My pampering of you doesn't mean I have no bottom line. Jiang Wanqing. It's been 5 years. And I've given you countless chances. Every time you said you knew you were wrong. But every time you went even further. She collapsed to the ground, crying her heart out. This time it's for real. Qinzhou. This time I truly know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I beg you. I crouched down to be at eye level with her. Jiang Wanqing. Do you still remember what your father said to me on our wedding day? She shook her head, crying. He said, Shenzhou, Wanqing has been spoiled by her mother since she was a child. She's willful, selfish, and doesn't know how to cherish things. You need to be more tolerant of her. But if one day she really does something to wrong you, don't hold back. Just leave. I stood up. Your dad is a sensible man. It's a pity you take after your mom. I turned and went upstairs. Behind him came Jiang Wanqing's cries, each one louder and more desperate than the last. I didn't turn around. Jiang Wanqing cried for a full hour downstairs at the apartment building and was finally helped away by the building security guard. I watched her figure disappear into the night from upstairs, and then drew the curtains. The next morning, Lin Wanqing called. Shen Emo has been caught. Where? At the airport. He bought a plane ticket to Southeast Asia, planning to flee. The economic crime investigation team stopped him at the security checkpoint. Lin Wanqing's tone carried a hint of glee as she watched a spectacle. He was carrying 3 suitcases containing 20 million yuan in cash and a fake passport. Is the money from the company? Yes. He transferred the company's money to overseas accounts in batches, and also withdrew some cash to take with him. The young lady in the finance department who did the accounting for him has now confessed everything. Little girl? She's Shen Mo's assistant, 23 years old, and hasn't been out of school for long. Shen Emo coaxed her into going with him, and she did everything for him. Lin Wanqing clicked her tongue. This man's PUA skills are really high. I remained silent for a few seconds. Where is Jiang Wanqing? Does she know that Shen Emo has been arrested? I understand. After she went to see you last night, she went to the police station and said she wanted to see Shen Emo. The police wouldn't let her see him, so she sat in the lobby and cried for half the night. This morning, her mother went to the hospital to process her discharge and then took her to the police station to give a statement. To take a statement? Shen Emo confessed that the share transfer was initiated by Jiang Wanqing, and he did not force her. But he also said that his relationship with Jiang Wanqing was more than just superior and subordinate. His exact words were, "President Jiang has feelings for me, and I have feelings for her too. It's a mutual agreement." I couldn't help but laugh. It was a mutual agreement. Shen Emo really knows how to talk. He said something even more extreme. Lin Wanqing said in a lower voice. He said that the reason Jiang Wanqing wanted to give him 70% of the shares was because she hated you. She hated that you were smarter than her, that you were more capable than her, and that you had more prestige in the company. She wanted to prove in this way that she could still run the company well without you. And then what happened? As it turns out, without me, she couldn't even save her company. Lin Wanqing laughed. I didn't say that. It was the police officer who handled the case who said it. Those were his exact words. After hanging up the phone, I went to the law firm. Zhao Deming was dressed in a formal suit today. His hair was neatly combed, and the case files on the table were piled up to half his height. Xiaolu, come, sit down. He pushed a cup of tea towards him. There's been progress in the case. The court has given us their response. The trial will be held next week. So fast? In cases like this, the facts are clear and the evidence is conclusive. There's no point in dragging it out. Zhao Deming put on his reading glasses and opened a folder. Regarding the patent infringement, the Jiang Group owes a total of 36 million in licensing fees and late fees. As for the shareholder equity, your 40% stake is worth about 200 million based on the current market value. 200 million? This is after the price drop. If it hadn't dropped, it would have been 400 to 500 million. Zhao Deming sighed. Xiaolu, this move of yours is equivalent to taking half the Jiang family's life out of them. They started it. I said. I know. Zhao Deming waved his hand. I'm just expressing my feelings. After being a judge for so many years, I've seen too many couples turn against each other. But in your case, the husband sues his wife and wants to send his wife's lover to prison. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like it. Attorney Zhao, do you think I've gone too far? Zhao Deming took off his glasses and looked at me intently. Xiaolu, I'm being blunt. Don't take it personally. What you did is legally sound, morally sound, but humanly sound. It's ruthless. He paused. But then again, if you weren't ruthless, you'd be the one who dies. These days, being merciful to your enemies is being cruel to yourself. You did the right thing. I picked up the teacup and blew away the foam. Will Jiang Wanqing come to the court hearing? She has to come, Zhao Deming said. Not only does she have to come, but she also has to bring a lawyer. But as far as I know, the lawyer she hired is a young man who just got his license and doesn't even understand the basic concepts of patent law. She can't win this kind of case. I don't want her to win, I said, but I also don't want to make things too bad for her. What's the meaning? I want the patent fees. And I want the shares. But I can discuss the divorce with her privately. I can leave her a way out in terms of property division. Zhao Deming looked at me with a complicated expression. Xiaolu, are you still clinging to old feelings? It's not about old feelings. I shook my head. It's about her father's kindness. The old man was kind to me back then. And I can't let his daughter starve to death on the streets. Zhao Deming was silent for a few seconds, then nodded. Okay, I'll arrange it for you. After leaving the law firm, I drove to the hospital. I'm not going to see Wang Guilan. I'm going to see an old friend. Old Lu, the company's longtime accountant, had worked for the Jiang family for 20 years. Last year, he was diagnosed with late-stage liver cancer. Jiang Wanqing dismissed him because she felt his medical treatment was interfering with his work. Without even giving him severance pay, I found his hospital room and pushed the door open. Old Lu lay in bed, as thin as a bamboo pole, his face sallow. His wife sat beside him, peeling an apple for him. President Lu? Old Lu's eyes lit up when he saw me. What brings you here? Just came to see you. I placed the fruit basket on the bedside table. How are you feeling? That's it. We'll just take it one day at a time. Old Lu smiled. A smile that showed a kind of composure that came from seeing through life and death. President Lu, I've heard about what happened to you. You did the right thing. Jiang Wanqing is not worth your kindness. Brother Lu, I came here today to ask you something. Please speak. Did you keep a record of the Jiang family's accounts? Old Lu narrowed his eyes. Mr. Lu, why are you asking this? You must have known about Shinemo transferring assets a long time ago, right? Old Lu remained silent for a long time, and his wife stopped peeling the apple, watching us nervously. President Lu, I, Lao Lu, have worked for the Jiang family for 20 years. Old Master Jiang was kind to me. Before he passed away, he instructed me to keep an eye on the company for him and not let Wanqing squander the family fortune. Lao Lu's voice was very soft. As for Shinemo, I knew he was no good the moment I saw him. He started falsifying accounts in his second year at the company, and I remember it all. He pulled a USB drive out from under his pillow and handed it to me. This contains all the account details for the past 3 years. I've marked the destination of every single penny. It shows how much money Shinemo transferred, where it was transferred to, and who handled it. I took the USB drive. Thank you, Brother Lu. No need to thank me. Old Lu coughed twice. President Lu, I only ask one thing of you. The Jiang family has fallen. So be it. But please don't go to extremes. Leave Wanqing a way out. The old man is watching from heaven. I will. I stood up and walked to the door when old Lu called me back. President Lu, you are a good person. Don't let this incident turn you into a bad person. I stood at the doorway and remained silent for a few seconds. I'll try my best. As I walked out of the hospital, my phone vibrated. It's Jiang Wanqing. Lu Qinzhou, I want to see you. Let's talk on the phone. No, I have to say it in person. Her voice was calm, unusually calm. I'm downstairs at your office. Come over. I hesitated for a moment, then drove to the science park. The office of Qinzhou Technology was still under renovation, with building materials piled up at the entrance and workers going in and out. Jiang Wanqing stood at the entrance of the building, wearing a gray trench coat and holding a file folder in her hand. She saw my car and walked over. Want to find a place to sit? She asked. Let's say it here. She nodded and handed me the file folder. This is the divorce agreement. And I've signed it. I opened the document bag and pulled out the agreement. The property division section stated, the wife voluntarily relinquishes all marital property, including real estate, vehicles, savings, and securities. The husband is not required to pay any child support or compensation. Have you thought this through? I asked. I've thought it through. She looked at me, her eyes red. But she didn't cry. Lu Chinzhou. The stupidest thing I've ever done in my life was listening to my mother and believing Shinmo's nonsense, which hurt someone who was truly good to me. I didn't say anything. You don't need to forgive me. And I don't deserve to be forgiven. Her voice trembled. I just wanted to say sorry to you. And thank you. Thank me for what? Thank you for not pushing me to the brink. She lowered her head. Attorney Zhao told me that you're willing to spare my life. You're letting me keep the old house my father left behind. That belongs to your dad, not you. I know. She finally cried, tears falling one by one. Lu Chinzhou. You're right. I'm like my mother, selfish, greedy, and don't know how to cherish things. My father saw through me when he was alive, which is why he entrusted the patent matter to you. She took a photo out of her pocket and handed it to me. It was taken on our wedding day. She was wearing a white wedding dress, and I was wearing a black suit. We were both laughing like idiots. I've always kept this photo in my wallet. She shoved the photo into my hand. Keep it as a keepsake. If you don't want to keep it, you can throw it away. She turned and left. I stood there, clutching the photo in my hand, watching her walk away. The wind was strong, and her trench coat fluttered loudly. She didn't look back, but walked to the street corner, turned the corner, and disappeared. I looked down at the photo. There was a line of text on the back of the photo, in her handwriting. Lu Chinzhou. The luckiest thing in my life is marrying you. The unluckiest thing is also marrying you. I put the photo in my pocket and looked up at the sky. The sky was blue. The clouds were white. And an airplane streaked across the sky with a long contrail. I took a deep breath and walked into the building. The renovation workers were welding, sparks flying everywhere. The project manager rushed over. Covered in sweat, Mr. Liu. The construction period may be delayed by 2 days. There's been a problem with the plumbing and electrical work. We can't delay, I said. We must work overtime to finish on time. But add more money. She paused for a moment, then laughed. All right, just you wait and see. I took the elevator up to the 18th floor and stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. The city outside the window glittered in the sunlight, with skyscrapers standing side by side and traffic flowing like rivers. My phone vibrated. It was Lin Wanqing. Mr. Liu, the money from CDH Investments has arrived. 300 million. Not a penny less. Good. Also, the venture capital firm you asked me to contact is very interested, and we've scheduled a meeting for next Wednesday. Which one? Matrix Partners. I laughed. Mr. Liu, what are you laughing at? Lin Wanqing asked. I'm wondering what the valuation of Shenzhou Technology will be a year from now. What do you think? At least 5 billion. There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the phone. Then Lin Wanqing laughed. Lu Chinzhou, you have a lot of ambition. It's not that I'm ambitious, I said. It's that I've been hungry before, so I know how important it is to be well fed. After hanging up the phone, I stood by the window, looking at the bustling city. 5 years ago, I came to this city with only a suitcase and nothing at all. 5 years later, I still left with that suitcase. But this time, I took more than just myself with me, and the entire industry. The day the court hearing was held, the first rain of autumn fell. I wore a dark gray suit, which Lin Wanqing helped me choose. She said black was too heavy, blue too frivolous, and gray was just right, composed but not oppressive. I glanced at myself in the mirror and realized I had aged a lot in the past 5 years. I had gray hairs at my temples, and the wrinkles around my eyes looked like they had been etched by a knife. Zhao Deming was waiting for me at the courthouse entrance, carrying a brown paper bag containing all the evidence. Jiang Wanqing has arrived, he said. Her mother is here too, sitting in the audience. Where is Shinmo? He was brought over from the detention center and is in the waiting room. I nodded and followed him into the courthouse. The courtroom was small, with about 20 people in the audience, mostly media reporters. Wang Guilin sat in the first row, wearing a black cotton padded coat, her face sallow, her eyes swollen like peaches. When she saw me come in, Her lips trembled a few times, but in the end, she said nothing. Jiang Wanqing sat in the defendant's seat, next to a young lawyer wearing glasses, who looked to be under 30, with his head down flipping through documents, his forehead covered in sweat. I sat down in the plaintiff's seat, with Zhao Deming next to me. The judge struck the gavel, and the trial began. Zhao Deming stood up and stated the facts in a low voice, but he enunciated each word clearly. He presented the patent certificates, licensing agreements, and shareholder agreements one by one, listing every single licensing fee owed by the Jiang Group, down to the cent. In summary, the defendant, Jiang's Group, owes the plaintiff, Lu Qinzhou, a total of RMB 36.478.200 in patent licensing fees, and has also infringed upon the plaintiff's shareholder rights, preventing the plaintiff from exercising its legitimate equity rights. The plaintiff requests the court to order the defendant to pay the aforementioned amount and restore the plaintiff's 40% equity stake in the company. Jiang Wanqing's lawyer stood up, his voice trembling slightly. I object. The patent licensing agreement claimed by the plaintiff was signed under a significant misunderstanding. As a company employee, the plaintiff's invention should belong to the company, and the name on the patent certificate cannot be used as a basis for ownership. Zhao Deming smiled. Your Honor, I request that the evidence be presented. The judge nodded. Zhao Deming produced a document. This is a statement signed by Mr. Jiang Boren, the founder of the defendant company and the father of Ms. Jiang Wanqing. Before his death, the statement clearly states that the core technology of the Zhiyun system was independently developed by Mr. Lu Qinzhou and has nothing to do with the company. Mr. Jiang Boren voluntarily transferred all patent rights to Mr. Lu Qinzhou, and the company only retains the right to use them. Jiang Wanqing's expression changed. She was unaware of the statement. Furthermore, Zhao Deming produced another document. This is Mr. Jiang Boren's notarized will. The will states that 40% of the shares in the Jiang Group belong to Mr. Lu Qinzhou, and no one may seize them. As the executor of the will, Ms. Jiang Wanqing is obligated to cooperate in handling the share transfer procedures. A buzz of discussion arose from the audience. Wang Gailan stood up. Impossible. The old man wouldn't do that. The bailiff walked over and gestured for her to sit down. The judge looked at Jiang Wanqing, defendant. Do you have any objections to these two pieces of evidence? Jiang Wanqing's lawyer leaned over and said a few words to her. Her face grew paler and paler, and her lips trembled. I don't know. Her voice was very soft. My dad never told me any of this. Zhao Deming pressed his advantage. Defendant. When your father was alive, did he repeatedly remind you to respect Mr. Lu Qinzhou's technical contributions? Jiang Wanqing lowered her head. Have I repeatedly warned you not to trust outsiders and to cherish your marital relationship? Her shoulders began to tremble. Was I explicitly told you that the company can do without the Jiang family, but it cannot do without Lu Qinzhou? Jiang Wanqing finally cried, her tears falling onto the table in a steady stream. The judge struck the gavel. Defendant. Please control your emotions. I sat in the plaintiff's seat, watching Jiang Wanqing cry. I felt neither pleasure nor pity, just a calm exhaustion, like having run a very long road and finally seeing the finish line. The trial lasted 3 hours. Finally, the judge delivered the verdict in court. This court finds that the evidence submitted by the plaintiff, Lu Qinzhou, is authentic and valid, and that the defendant, Jiang's Group, is in arrears on patent licensing fees, and that the infringement of shareholder rights is established, based on the relevant provisions of the Patent Law of the People's Republic of China and the Company Law of the People's Republic of China. The judgment is as follows. 1. The defendant, Jiang's Group, shall pay the plaintiff, Lu Qinzhou, a total of RMB 36.478.200 in patent licensing fees and late payment penalties within 10 days from the date this judgment becomes effective. 2. The defendant, Jiang's Group, shall complete the industrial and commercial registration change within 30 days from the date this judgment becomes effective, restoring the plaintiff, Lu Qinzhou's 40% equity stake 3. The litigation costs of this case shall be borne by the defendant. The gavel fell with a crisp sound. Reporters in the gallery began rushing out, their phones ringing incessantly. Wang Guilan stood up, pointed her finger at my nose, and cursed. Lu Qinzhou, you beast. You've ruined our family. You'll die a horrible death. 2 bailiffs stopped her and dragged her out. She struggled and cursed as she went. And when she reached the door, she suddenly burst into tears. Her cries were shrill and mournful, like an old cat whose tail had been stepped on. Jiang Wanqing sat motionless in the defendant's seat. Her lawyer packed his things, whispered, "Mr. Jiang, I'm leaving now," and then hurriedly departed. Only she, me, and a few cleaning ladies remained in the courtroom. Lu Qinzhou. She called my name, her voice hoarse. "Are you satisfied now?" I stood up and looked at her. "I'm not satisfied," I said. "If I had a choice, I would rather none of this had ever happened." "Then why did you do that?" "Because you didn't give me a second option." She remained silent for a long time, then smiled. A smile as bitter as Chinese medicine. "You're right. I deserve it." She stood up, picked up her bag, and walked past me. She paused when she reached the door. "Lu Qinzhou, my mother is right. You are a terrifying person. You spent 5 years setting up such a huge scheme. You watched us all perform like clowns. And then, when we were at our most triumphant, you delivered the fatal blow. I didn't say anything, but my mom said one thing wrong." She turned to look at me. "You're not a man from a poor background. You're a venomous snake that's been coiled around our house for 5 years, just waiting to take a bite." She left. I stood there, watching her figure disappear at the end of the corridor. Zhao Deming walked over and patted me on the shoulder. "Xiaolu, we won the case. Why aren't you happy?" "There's nothing to be happy about," I said. "It's a Pyrrhic victory. I'm not a winner either." The rain stopped when I left the courthouse. The sky was overcast. The ground was wet, and the gray clouds were reflected in the water. I stood on the steps and lit a cigarette. My phone vibrated. It was Lao Zhou. "Brother Lu, I heard about what happened at the court. The guys are all waiting at the company. The renovations are all done. When are you coming over?" "Go there now." I put out my cigarette and got into the car. Qinzhou Technology's office is located on the 18th floor of Building C in the Science Park. The renovation took 9 days, 1 day ahead of schedule. The project manager and workers worked through the night, staying up all night on the last day to complete all the details. I pushed open the glass door, and a bright and spacious space appeared before me. The open workstations are neatly arranged, and a whiteboard wall takes up an entire wall, bearing the words Qinzhou Technology, redefining intelligence. The meeting room by the window is separated by glass partitions, allowing sunlight to stream in and brighten the entire office. My office is at the very back. There's no door, just a dark gray curtain. Old Zhou and 47 people from the technical department stood by my workstation. When they saw me come in, they all clapped. "Brother Lu." Old Zhou walked over, his eyes red-rimmed. "What do you think of our new home?" I walked around the office, touched the desk at my workstation, looked at the words on the whiteboard wall, and went to the window to overlook the city. "Okay," I said. "Very good." Lin Wanqing came in from the doorway, wearing a camel-colored coat and carrying a folder in her hand. "Mr. Lu, I have some good news." She walked over. "Matrix Partners has confirmed that they will come to conduct due diligence next week. Their valuation of us is 1.5 billion, which is 500 million higher than we expected. What are the conditions? No performance-based agreements, no buybacks, purely a financial investment." Lin Wanqing smiled. "They said they trust Lu Qinzhou as a person." I laughed too. "There's one more thing." Lin Wanqing opened the folder. "That big client with a 300 million yuan contract officially signed it today. The contract amount is 320 million yuan, which is 20 million yuan more than before. The client said that the extra 20 million yuan is your signing bonus, to thank you for choosing to start your own business instead of staying in that mess. No need for the signing fee." I said. Let's include the 20 million in the contract and extend the service period for the client by 2 years. Lin Wanqing looked at me for a few seconds and nodded. Lu Qinzhou, you really know how to do business. It's not that I'm good at business, I said. It's that I know what it means to make money slowly and steadily. That evening, I treated all the employees to dinner. The location was a Hunan restaurant downstairs from the company. 47 people sat at 6 tables. The food was very spicy. The alcohol was very strong. And everyone was having a great time. Old Joe was drunk and hugged my shoulder, crying. Brother Lu, I've followed you for 8 years and never regretted it. I'll follow you wherever you go. I'll work for you if you start a company. And I'll serve you food if you beg. I patted him on the back without saying anything. Xiao Wang from the technical department also drank too much. He stood up with his wine glass in hand. And his speech was slurred. President Lu, let me toast you. You are a role model for us tech people. From now on, if anyone says that coding is a dead-end job, I'll show them your achievements. Everyone burst into laughter. I picked up my glass and drank it all in one gulp. Halfway through my drink, my phone vibrated. An unfamiliar number. I went outside to answer it. Lu Qinzhou. I am Shinemo. I was stunned for a moment. How did you get the phone? I borrowed it in the detention center. His voice was low, with a strange calm. I want to say a few words to you. Explain. Did you know about my relationship with Jiang Wanqing from the very beginning? Yes. Then why didn't you expose it sooner? Because it's not the right time yet. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the phone. Then Shin Emo laughed, his laughter full of self-deprecation. Lu Qinzhou, you're a ruthless person. I consider myself ruthless enough. But compared to you, I'm far inferior. Shin Emo, do you know where you went wrong? Where did we go wrong? You're too hasty, I said. You've only been with the company for 2 years. And you're already trying to swallow everything up. I waited 5 years. Until everyone thought I was harmless. Before I made my move. So you've been waiting for this day from the very beginning? No, I said. I never thought it would come to this. You forced me to. Shin Emo remained silent for a long time. Jiang Wanqing came to see me. He said finally. She cried and said she regretted knowing me. What she should regret is not knowing you, but not knowing herself. What's the meaning? She's never truly understood herself in her life. She doesn't know her own worth. What's real and what's fake. She gets easily swayed by flattery and her legs go weak at the slightest fear. I paused for a moment. And you are too. You all think you're so smart. But you're actually incredibly stupid. A bitter laugh came from the other end of the phone. Lu Qinzhou, if there is an afterlife, I want to be your friend. No need for this life. I said, let's go in the next life. This life is over. I hung up the phone. Standing at the restaurant entrance, a night breeze blew by, carrying the coolness of early autumn. The neon lights across the street flickered, and pedestrians came and went, each with their own story and their own battlefield. I turned around and walked back to the restaurant. As I pushed open the door, the smell of alcohol, spice, and laughter hit me. Old Joe raised his glass and called out to me, Brother Lu, come on, let's toast to tomorrow together. I walked over and picked up my wine glass. Respect for tomorrow. Everyone raised their glasses together, the clinking of glasses producing a crisp sound, like the tolling of a new world. 7 days after the verdict took effect, Jiang Wanqing asked to meet me at a tea restaurant. The shop was located in an alley in the old town. It had a small storefront and was decorated in a 1990s style. We used to come here often when we were newly married. The owner knew us and would always give us an extra serving of soup. Later, when things got better, Jiang Wanqing thought the restaurant was too low class and never came back. When I arrived, she was already sitting in the innermost booth, with a glass of iced lemon tea in front of her, which she hadn't drunk much of. She was wearing a plain white t-shirt and jeans. Her hair was casually tied up, and she wasn't wearing any makeup. It's been 5 years, and this is the first time I've seen her dressed like this. You've come. She looked up, smiled faintly. I sat down. And the proprietress came over, looked at me, and paused for a moment. Xiaolu? Long time no see. Still the same as before? The usual. 1 black pepper beef tenderloin rice and an iced lemon tea. The proprietress responded, glanced at Jiang Wanqing, hesitated, then turned and left. How is your mother's health? I asked. She's all right. Jiang Wanqing lowered her head. She's been discharged from the hospital and is recuperating at home. The doctor said she doesn't have any serious illness. She's just angry. She said the word angry very softly, as if she were talking to herself. Did you need something from me? She took an envelope out of her bag and pushed it in front of me. This is the money the court awarded. Over 36 million. I sold the company and raised that much. I opened the envelope, and inside was a bank transfer receipt. The company was sold? Sold. She picked up her iced lemon tea and took a sip. Sold it to a company from out of town. The price wasn't high, but it was enough to pay off the debt. Shinmo's 70% stake was also disposed of. All the money allocated to him was frozen and used to repay the assets he transferred. How many did you sell? 80 million. 80 million? I frowned. The company is worth at least 200 million. It's an urgent sale. There's no other way. She smiled. Besides, the company has lost its core technology and all its customers have left. All that's left is an empty shell. The fact that they're willing to pay 80 million is already because of the office equipment and the old employees. The proprietress brought over the food I ordered, looked at the two of us, sighed, and left. I picked up my chopsticks and shoveled a mouthful of rice into my mouth. I've also cashed out your 40% stake. Jiang Wanqing took out another check from her bag. Based on the sale price, you should receive 32 million, adding the previously owed patent fees. The total is over 68 million. I've already transferred it to your account. I put down my chopsticks and looked at her. Jiang Wanqing, are you going to return all the money to me? Paying back debts is a matter of course. Her voice was calm. My dad said that a person should keep their word. What I owe you is not only this money, but also an apology. She stood up and bowed to me. Lu Qinzhou. I'm sorry. I sat there, without moving. The restaurant was quiet, with only the sounds of cooking coming from the kitchen and the midday news playing on a television in the distance. She straightened up and wiped her eyes. All right. I've said everything I needed to say. You can continue eating. I'm leaving now. Wait a minute. I called out to her. She stopped, but didn't turn around. What are your plans next? I'll find a job, she said with a hint of self-deprecation. I graduated from a prestigious university, so finding a job shouldn't be a problem. It's just that the salary might not be high enough to support my mom. Your mother's side. I'll handle her own affairs. She interrupted me. Lu Qinzhou, you don't need to pity me. You don't owe me anything anymore. And I don't want to owe you anything either. She left. I sat in the booth and finished the whole plate of black pepper beef rice, not leaving a single bite. The iced lemon tea is finished. The ice at the bottom of the cup has melted and is watery. The proprietress came over to clear the tables, hesitated for a moment, and asked in a low voice, Xiaolu, you two, you're divorced? Sigh. The proprietress sighed. You two were so sweet together when you first arrived. Always inseparable. It was so heartwarming to see you like this. How did things come to this? I didn't answer, paid the bill, and walked out of the tea restaurant. The sun was shining brightly in the alley, and several cats were basking in the sun against the wall. An old man was playing chess at the alley entrance. And with a snap, he placed a piece and shouted checkmate. I stood at the alley entrance and lit a cigarette. My phone vibrated. It was Lao Zhou. Brother Lu, I've sent you the architecture plan for the new system to your email. Please take a look and see if there are any problems. Okay, I'll go back and check. After hanging up the phone, I put out my cigarette and drove back to the company. Qinzhou Technology's office is now running smoothly. With all 47 technical staff in place and over a dozen newly recruited administrative and sales personnel. Lin Wanqing has sent a finance director from Dinghui Capital to help her oversee the accounts. When I walked into the office, Lao Zhou was drawing an architecture diagram in front of the whiteboard wall, sweating profusely. "Brother Liu, you've come at the right time. I just can't seem to get things sorted out here." I walked over, picked up a marker, and drew a few strokes on the whiteboard. This decouples the data layer from the application layer, with a message queue in between. High traffic won't crash the database. Old Joe looked at it for a few seconds, then slapped his thigh. "That's right. How come I didn't think of that?" Xiao Wang, who was standing next to him, came over to take a look and slapped his thigh, exclaiming, "President Liu is awesome." I smiled and walked into my office. A stack of resumes lay on the table, candidates selected by the HR department. I flipped through them. Most were familiar faces in the industry, and a few were former employees of the Jiang Group who had followed Shen Mo and now wanted to switch jobs. I picked out those resumes and set them aside. The HR manager knocked and came in. "Mr. Liu, have you looked at those resumes? They're all senior engineers with a lot of experience." "No," I said. "Why?" "Because they are very skilled. There are plenty of skilled people out there." I looked at her. These 4 people were always following Shen Mo around when he was in power. Now that Shen Mo has fallen, they want to come and join me. People like that can betray Shen Mo today, and they can betray me tomorrow. The HR manager paused for a moment, then nodded, understood. "Being a good person is more important than being good at your job." I said, "Skills can be learned, but character cannot." She took her resume and went out. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes for a while. My mind is a jumbled mess. One moment I see Jiang Wanqing bowing and apologizing. The next I hear Wang Guilan yelling at me outside the courthouse. And then I hear Shen Mo saying on the phone, "I want to be your friend in the next life." I opened my eyes, picked up my phone, and sent a message to Lin Wanqing. "Are you free this weekend? I'd like to treat you to dinner." She replied instantly, "Invite me to dinner? Has the sun risen in the west? Thank you for your help during this time." "Okay." "Saturday night. I know a good Japanese restaurant." "Good." I put down my phone and started looking at the architecture plan that Lao Zhou had sent me. The new system is a comprehensive upgrade based on the Zhiyun system, with a more advanced architecture, stronger performance, and higher security. Lao Zhou and his team have spent half a month building the basic framework. I made a few changes to the plan, marked the modifications, and sent it back to him. I had just finished sending it when the front desk called. "Mr. Liu, a lady is looking for you. She says she is your former mother-in-law." I was stunned for a moment. "Let her come up." 5 minutes later, Wang Guilan appeared at the office door. She was wearing a faded down jacket. Her hair was gray. She wasn't wearing makeup, and her eye bags drooped down to her cheekbones. She was completely different from the old lady who had worn a mink coat and a jade necklace before. "Shenzhou." She called my name, her voice hoarse. "May I come in and sit for a while?" I stood up and pulled out a chair. "Please sit down." She walked in, looked around the office, and her eyes were filled with complicated emotions. "Your office is even bigger than Wanqing's. It needs to be this large, with a large technical team." She sat in the chair with her hands on her knees, like a child who had done something wrong. "Qinzhou, I came here today to apologize to you. I didn't say anything. I treated you badly before, and I said a lot of hurtful things. I called you a phoenix man, a gold digger, and a laborer." Her eyes reddened. "I didn't know then that you were the one who truly held this family together." "Ms. Wang, there's no point in saying these things now." I know. She wiped away her tears. "I'm not here to ask for your forgiveness. I just wanted to tell you in person. Wanqing's father passed away early, and I raised her by myself. I was afraid she would suffer losses or be deceived. So I felt that anyone who got close to her was after our family's money. And what was the result?" I looked at her. "You treat the people who are really after your family's money like treasures. You treat the people who are really helping your family like thieves." Wang Guilan burst into tears. "I was wrong. I was really wrong. The biggest mistake I ever made was misjudging you. Mistaking that beast Shen Mo for a good person and you for a bad person." She took a red cloth bag out of her purse, opened it, and inside was a pair of jade bracelets. This was passed down from Wanqing's grandmother. It was originally intended as Wanqing's dowry. But after you married her, I didn't give it to her because I didn't think much of you. She placed the jade bracelet on the table. Now I'm giving this to you as a way of returning the favor. You can keep it or sell it. It's up to you. I glanced at the jade bracelet. Its quality was SOSO. It wasn't worth much. Please take it back. I said, this is your property. I don't want it. I can't live with myself if you don't accept it. Your lingering resentment isn't because you owe me anything, but because you've finally seen yourself for who you really are. I stood up. Ms. Wang, please take your things back. I don't hate you, nor do I resent you, but I don't want anything more to do with you. Take care of yourself. And take care of Jiang Wanqing too. Wang Gailan opened her mouth as if to say something, but ultimately didn't. She put the jade bracelet away, stood up, and bowed to me. The exact same angle and the exact same posture as Jiang Wanqing. Sinking ship. Take care. You too. She turned and walked away, but paused at the door. Qinzhou, Wanqing still loves you. The door closed. I stood there, staring at the closed door. For a long time, the sky outside the window darkened, and the city lights gradually came on. I drew the curtains, turned on the desk lamp, and started working. On Saturday night, I went to the Japanese restaurant that Lin Wanqing had mentioned. The restaurant is located on the top floor of an office building in the CBD, offering a great view of the entire city at night. Lin Wanqing had booked a private room by the window, and when I arrived, she was already inside, with a pot of sake in front of her, pouring herself a drink. You're here? She poured me a glass of wine. Sit down. I sat down, picked up my glass, and took a sip. Why did you suddenly decide to invite me to dinner today? She asked. I already said thank you. Just a thank you? She looked at me, her eyes holding something indescribable. Otherwise what? She smiled, didn't answer, and put a piece of salmon in her mouth. Lu Qinzhou, have you thought about how you're going to live the rest of your life? Make money and grow the company. Then what? And then? I thought for a moment. I haven't thought about it. You should think about this. She put down her chopsticks. You are 36 years old, divorced, childless, possess the most core technology in the industry, and have hundreds of millions of yuan in cash in your account. Your life is just beginning. Are you trying to set me up with someone? No. She looked at me. I wanted to volunteer myself. The private room was silent for a few seconds. Outside the window, the city's night view is as dazzling as a galaxy, with thousands of lights spreading out at my feet. I picked up my glass and took another sip. Lin Wanqing, you know I just got divorced. I know. You know I'm completely focused on work right now. I can't think about anything else. I know that too. Then why did you say such a thing? Because I don't want to miss out. She smiled, a calm and confident smile. Lu Qinzhou, I have a good eye for people. You are a loyal and righteous person, intelligent and principled. You are someone I can entrust my life to. I'm not in a hurry. I can wait. I looked at her and remained silent for a long time. Let's eat, I said. The wine's getting cold. She smiled and picked up her wine glass. Okay, let's eat. The wine glasses clinked together, making a crisp sound. The city lights outside the window are bright, like a dazzling galaxy in another galaxy. 1 year later, as the listing bells of Qinzhou Technology echoed across Nasdaq, I stood on the stage, with 47 old comrades who had followed me from the Jiang group behind me. Old Zhou wore an ill-fitting suit and a crooked tie, but he laughed louder than anyone else. Lin Wanqing stood in the first row below the stage, wearing a champagne-colored dress, and raised her champagne glass to me. The stock price rose by 40% immediately after the market opened, and the market value directly exceeded 10 billion. It took me 12 years to go from a poor kid who started out writing code to where I am today. After the press conference ended, reporters swarmed around me, their microphones practically poking my face. Mr. Liu, Chinjo Technology's market value exceeded 10 billion yuan immediately after its listing. What do you think is the key to its success? Technology, I said. And trust. My team trusts me. My clients trust me. And my investors trust me. Mr. Liu, there are rumors that your lawsuit with your ex-wife Jiang Wanqing is still ongoing. Is that true? I glanced at the reporter. The lawsuit ended a year ago. The judgments that were due have been made, and the compensations that were due have been paid. There are no outstanding legal disputes between Ms. Jiang and me. What about relationship disputes? Some people in the audience laughed. I smiled too, when it comes to matters of the heart. What's past is past. I wish her all the best. Mr. Liu, I heard you and Ms. Lin Wanqing are dating. She is both your investor and your partnership. I interrupted her. Ms. Lin is a shareholder and director of Chinjo Technology. Our relationship is purely a business partnership. Lin Wanqing looked at me from below the stage, a slight smile playing on her lips, but said nothing. The reporters asked a bunch of questions, and I answered them all perfectly. After the press conference ended, I walked out of the venue, and Lin Wanqing followed me. A purely business partnership? She said behind me, her voice tinged with amusement. Otherwise what? What do you want me to say at the press conference? I turned to look at her. You don't need to say anything. She walked to my side and took my arm. Everyone already knows anyway. I didn't break free, nor did I say anything. The two walked out of the building side by side, the night breeze blowing in their faces, carrying the scent of early summer. Lin Wanqing's car was parked at the entrance, and the driver opened the door. She released my arm, glanced at me, and said, "The meeting is tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Don't forget." I can't forget it. She got in the car and left. I stood at the door and lit a cigarette. My phone vibrated. It was my assistant, Xiao Chen. Mr. Liu, the matter at the shopping mall has been taken care of. The watch you requested has been delivered to your apartment. Good. After hanging up the phone, I drove back to my apartment. I stopped for a moment when I passed by that tea restaurant. Through the glass window, you can see the familiar booths and chandeliers inside. The proprietress is wiping the tables, and a little girl in a school uniform is doing her homework in the corner. I suddenly wanted to go in and sit down, but after thinking about it, I didn't stop. Some things, once they're over, are over. Back in the apartment, there was an exquisite gift box on the table containing a Patek Philippe watch. I glanced at it twice and then put it in the drawer. There was one more thing in the drawer, the wedding photo. The person in the photo is smiling like a fool. I glanced at it for a few seconds, then closed the drawer. The next morning, there was the company's routine meeting. Lin Wanqing was sitting to my right, with a stack of documents spread out in front of her, arguing with someone from the marketing department. This plan won't work. The budget is too high and the ROI is too low. We need to redo it. The marketing director, a man in his early 30s, was sweating profusely as she spoke. President Lin, this proposal has already been revised 5 times. If 5 revisions aren't enough, then 50. Lin Wanqing didn't even look up. Chinjo Technology's money doesn't grow on trees. Every penny must be spent wisely. I leaned back in my chair and watched them argue. Old Joe sat in the corner and secretly sent me a message. Brother Liu, does President Lin think the company is her own home? I replied with a single word, Aren't you going to do anything about it? She's right. The plan really won't work. Old Joe sent a facepalm emoji. The meeting lasted for 2 hours and ended at 11 o'clock. I walked back to my office and had just sat down when the receptionist called. Mr. Liu, a lady is looking for you. She says her surname is Jiang. My hand froze in midair. Let her come up. 5 minutes later, Jiang Wanqing appeared at the office door. She wore a navy blue jumpsuit with a name tag pinned to her chest that read Jiang Wanqing, sales consultant. Her hair was cut short, reaching her ears, and she wore light makeup, looking much more energetic. But the fine lines around her eyes were deeper than a year ago. Mr. Liu, I'm sorry to bother you. She stood at the door and did not come in. Come in and sit down. She came in, sat down on the sofa, and took a folder out of her bag. I'm here today to represent our shopping mall to discuss cooperation. I was stunned for a moment. Cooperate? Yes. She opened the folder. I'm currently the leasing manager at Xingda Department Store. Our mall is holding a technology festival next month, and we'd like to invite Qinzhou Technology to participate. This is our proposed plan. Please take a look. She handed me the folder. I took it and opened it. The plan was very detailed, taking into account every detail, from booth design to interactive elements. Did you write this? Yes. She nodded. I stayed up for 3 nights in a row. I looked at her, and she looked into my eyes without flinching. Mr. Liu, I know our relationship is a bit awkward, but work is work, and personal matters are personal matters. I hope you can handle this professionally and not let personal feelings influence your judgment. I couldn't help but laugh. Jiang Wanqing, you've changed. People always change, she said. Some people change early. Some people change late. I belong to the latter. I closed the plan. I will have the marketing department evaluate the proposal. If there are no problems, we will cooperate. Thank you, Mr. Liu. She stood up and gave me a slight bow. Then I won't bother you any longer. She turned and walked out. Jiang Wanqing. I called out to her. She stopped. How is your mother's health? It's all right. She didn't turn around. She's currently teaching traditional Chinese painting at the community senior university. She's very busy and doesn't have time to cause trouble. That's good. She left. I sat in my office, holding that proposal, and looked at it for a long time. On the last page of the proposal, there was a line of small print written in pencil, Lu Qinzhou. Thank you for not hating me. I read that line 3 times, then picked up a pen and wrote a line next to it. You're welcome. Live well. Then the proposal was handed over to the marketing department. On the day of the Science and Technology Festival, Xingda Department Store was packed with people. Qinzhou Technology's booth was in the very center, where Lao Zhou and his technical team demonstrated the new system, attracting a large crowd of onlookers. I stood backstage, looking out through the gap in the curtain. Jiang Wanqing was directing operations on site, dressed in work clothes, holding a walkie-talkie, running back and forth, her brow beaded with sweat. She had an expression I'd never seen before on her face, focused, earnest, and full of energy. What are you looking at? Lin Wanqing appeared behind me without my noticing. It's nothing. I drew the curtain. She has changed a lot, Lin Wanqing said. Do you still have feelings for her? I looked into Lin Wanqing's eyes. Right now, all I care about is the company. She looked at me for a few seconds, then laughed. Liar. I laughed too. You found out. The exhibition ended at 5 p.m. As I walked out of the mall, Jiang Wanqing was seeing off a customer at the entrance. She saw me and came over. Mr. Liu, today's exhibition was very successful. Your products are extremely popular. You guys organized it well. She smiled, a smile that conveyed a sense of relief and ease. Lu Qinzhou, can I have a word with you? It's not about work. You say. She took a deep breath. I've thought a lot this year. I've figured out things I couldn't before. She looked at me. I don't blame you anymore. Really. If I were in your shoes, I would have done the same things. Maybe even worse. I didn't say anything. I hated you. Hated that you made me lose everything. But then I realized that I never truly owned anything. All that money, all those shares, all that so-called status. None of it was mine. It was what you earned. What my father left me. It has nothing to do with me. What your father left behind is yours. No. She shook her head. What my father left me wasn't money, but a lesson. When he was alive, he always told me to be kind and to see who is good to me. I didn't listen. Now I understand. But it's too late. It's not too late. I said. You're only 34. You have a long life ahead of you. She looked at me, her eyes reddening. Lu Qinzhou, if there is a next life, I still want to marry you. We'll talk about the next life then. I said. In this life. Just live your life well. She smiled, and tears streamed down her face. Good. She turned and walked away. But after a few steps, she turned back. Luchinjo, you must take good care of yourself too. I will. She disappeared into the crowd. I stood at the entrance of the mall, watching the flow of people coming and going. For a long time, my phone vibrated. It was Lin Wanqing. Mr. Liu, there's a dinner party tonight. Several investors want to meet with you. What time is it? 7 o'clock. At the Four Seasons Hotel. Okay, I'll go over there. After hanging up the phone, I got in the car and started the engine. As the car drove onto the main road, the car stereo randomly played a song. It's Eason Chan's Long Time No See. I came to your city and walked the path you once took. I reached out and turned off the stereo. Outside the car window, the setting sun bathed the entire city in gold. The traffic on the elevated highway flows like luminous rivers, reaching every corner of the city. I gripped the steering wheel, looking at the road ahead. The road is long, and the sky is wide. This time, however, I was holding the steering wheel myself.